Hello and thank you for joining me. My name is Alan and today's video concentrates on layering your kit, layering your survival kit, and why, if you don't, you could end up losing everything. So as preppers, survivalists, whatever label you want to put on yourself, we pretty much know that we layer equipment to a certain extent. Yeah, you have your EDC, so that's the items that are actually on your person when you go out, whatever. And then you have items that are perhaps in a bag, and that's your EDC bag, but it's not in your person. Yeah, and that's where the problem comes from. That's where the problem stems. Now, normal EDC is usually, you know, your mobile phone, your wristwatch, your wallet, your keys, pocket knife and a torch. That's normally pretty much it. Yeah. You will hear some people say, oh, why have you got a ferro rod in your EDC? You don't need that in your EDC. Yeah, so people don't. Yeah, you might have a lighter, but you're not necessarily going to have a ferro rod or things like that. And this is where the problem is. And this is exactly the same, because it's that type of mentality when you get to your get-home bags or your bug-out bags. Especially the way bag manufacturers are at the moment, or have been probably for the last decade, yeah? You get a tactical bag or not, and the chances are it's got organisation within the bag. Yeah, there's little slots to put things in and elasticated strips to retain items. And for normal everyday EDC, as in non-survival mode, that's handy. Yeah, because you're not really in a great urgency to get that item. You go to it, yeah, you can use the items. But the problem is when you're looking at get-home bags and bug-out bags or whatever name you want to put on it, if you do that, you're leaving yourself open for a potential fail. Now, you will see on YouTube, I've been guilty of it, loads of people are guilty of the same thing. You've got all your little pouches, yeah, you've got a fire kit, your water purification kit, your first aid kit, they're all into little pouches and little pocket organisers. There's loads of them, yeah, that type, this one, the pocket organisers. You know, there really are absolutely endless amounts of pouches on the market for us to organise our kit. And as I say, that's where the problem is, because if you do that and you've got it all in your get-home bag or whatever, and you part company with that, you're lumbered. Just think about this for a minute. Do a little mental exercise, yeah? In 10 minutes time, you're going to get a 10-minute warning, yeah, that you need to evacuate, or you're in your car coming home and bang, something happens, yeah. Could be that some crapheads, I don't know, a drone's come over and blown up part of your house has caught fire, whatever the reason, yeah. So you got 10 minutes. So you've, you know, got your clothes on, you grab your bag, you take a step forward, you're ready to rock and roll. Now keep that thought in your head, but now take your get-home bag or your bug-out bag and put it back indoors and stand outside. What have you actually now got? Probably got your wallet, your wristwatch, the clothes that you're wearing, perhaps a penknife and a torch. What else have you got? And that's the big problem. That's what I'm trying to come across and address that problem, yeah? In the military, they say that you live out of your bergen, which is your rucksack. Yeah, that's where you've got your food, your shelter, your sleep system, your tools, additional water. So you live out of your bergen, your get-home bag, or your bug-out bag. You fight from your webbing. We're talking about normal sort of prepping and disaster preparedness. So we're not really, we're not really going to be going out there in webbing, are we? It works for some people. In the current climate, it probably wouldn't work too well if you don't want to draw attention to yourself. Yeah, you imagine stepping out the street or stepping out your door of a small town in Israel at the moment, wearing a rucksack and webbing. Yeah, someone might take a pot shot at you. If you was running around parts of Ukraine, yeah, wearing webbing and a rucksack, yeah, could be either side taking a pot shot at you. So whilst webbing can work, yeah, we're not really in a conflict zone, we're not fighting. So we're not going to so much use the webbing, but the principle's the same. So we're living out of our Bergen, yeah, we are going to function, not fight, out of our pouch, and then survive from the contents of our pockets. And that's what I really want you to start to think about, yeah? Living out your bag, functioning from your pouch, surviving from what's in your pocket. So, instead of having your fire kit in a lovely little pouch in your bag and everything else, imagine that you've lost your bag, your Bergen, yeah? For whatever reason, you was walking down the street or whatever, you come across someone that's injured, you go to give them aid, because let's face it, we like to help people if we can, and then before you know it, you're seeing stars, and then you come to, your bag's gone, because it was a come on, yeah? It was a trick to get you, or you've got your nut down somewhere because you're knackered, you've just been walking, I don't know, 20 miles, whatever, you get your nut down and you haven't realised that people have seen where you are, and you wake up and your bag's missing. Or it could just be that you're having a little paddle, yeah, you capsize, get a hole, whatever, and your bag's floating off down the river. So, you know, it probably will never happen, but the potential for it to happen's there. And that's why we prep, isn't it? We prep for eventualities. We hope that it will never happen, but we have a plan, we do something to try and mitigate that problem. So what I'd really like you to do is think about the real essentials of your survival and how you can create redundancies by perhaps buying, if you don't really own them, smaller items, miniature items if you like, yeah? So if you're going out into the wilds, do a bit of bushcraft, or you're bugging out, or whatever you're doing, by all means you're going to have your full-size ferro rod and a lighter and some man-made tinder, etc, etc, in that fire pouch that's in your bag, and that will be your day-to-day use, yeah? That's what you're going to use on a day-to-day basis while you're doing that. But if you haven't got that kit, what are you going to do? Yeah, if you're very skilled and you can do friction fire, yeah, make bow drill, whatever, excellent. But the whole idea of being prepared is to make your life a little bit easier. So you haven't necessarily got to utilise those skills, which, even if you're good at it, don't always work and can take absolutely ages to actually get that fire going. And this is why I always go back to that little pocket survival kit. I've done videos on them before, and their importance, because you can have that in your pocket, and if the worst case scenario, you've lost your kit, you're not doomed. Yeah, you've got half a fighting chance to affect your survivability because you've got some items in you. So think about what sort of pouch you could purchase. I'm not going to push a brand, I don't do that. We all have different budgets and our needs are different. So just think about a sort of pouch that isn't too big, because if it's too big, you're going to put too much in it, and then when it's on your belt, it's going to be a hindrance, get in the way, and then you're going to be less inclined to carry it when you need to. Yeah? Think back to what I said, you've got 10 minutes to kit up. Now, I've got certain things, for instance. Yeah, it's a bit of paracord, it's got an old whistle, it's had loads of use, as in it's been carried loads of times when I've been out and about, and a small photon type LED. So the idea being, because I want to layer my equipment, is that that literally goes around my neck, I can adjust it, and it's down my shirt, yeah? It weighs next to nothing. If something happened and I needed to signal, it's here. I haven't got to, if I've still got my rucksack, I haven't got to open it up and delve in there and open organiser pouches and everything else to find the whistle. By the time you've done that, the party that you've seen that you want to communicate with might have gone. So you're losing that, you know, that opportunity. By wearing something like this, if you've got your nut down, it's dark, and you need a bit of light, you've got to go into your bag again, into your organiser to get your torch, to get your headlight or whatever, yeah. This provides enough light for me to pretty much instantly see what I need to see, or if I need to see something over a greater distance and it's dark, this enables me to actually locate my better torch or my headlamp that's in my bag and in my organiser much more easier than fumbling about in the dark. So consider something like this. You can put as much on it or as little as you want, but again, don't put so much stuff on it that you're walking around with your chin dragging on the floor because of the weight or the bulk, because if you do that, you're not going to carry it. Yeah, so there's something like that. You could put your essentials into a pouch. This is probably pretty much the biggest size. Something like this will take quite a lot of items. So you can put a fire kit, it's a redundancy to what you've got in your rucksack, in here. You could put a container of sorts in here for water, be it one of the NATO survival kit bags, a Wazoo bag, a pour and store Ziploc, anything like that, anything that's strong enough and will take a litre of water, you can put in there. If you're going to use the Wazoo bag, I've mentioned it before, it's great, the whole principle that you can, rest it on the embers and it won't melt, but the downside of that bag, there are two downsides to it. One, it doesn't stand up by itself, and the other one, there's no markings on it. Yeah, so they're good because they fold down very small, but if I was to use them with water purification tablets, the problem is I don't know where a litre of water is. Yeah, so what I've done, I think I've mentioned it in a past video, I got the Wazoo bag, I got a jug, I measured out a litre of water, I poured it into the Wazoo water bag, held it up so it's got a litre of water in there, and then I got a Sharpie and I put a line, poured the water away, let it dry out. I got a ruler and I put a line straight across that mark. That tells me that that's the capacity for a litre, and that's something I really wish Wazoo would do in their survival water bags. Yeah, you need that line to say that that's a litre, because then if you're popping in Puritabs, litre of water, one tablet, yeah, 30 minutes, good to go. But as I say, whatever type, you want something that you can actually carry water in so that you can treat it. In an ideal world, you'll have your metal mug or a metal bottle, but they're quite bulky items to actually be carrying on your person, yeah, in addition to your rucksack. You can do it, you can, wear a canteen pouch and do it that way, which is fine, but it stands out a little bit, doesn't it? And it's going to get in the way perhaps, but that's a decision you need to make. But what you must do is have a pouch, and inside that have a bag or something in there that will actually carry the water, because that is obviously a necessity to you. You want some Puritabs in there, yeah. You want the ferro rod in there, you want a lighter in there, you want some man-made tinder in there for an emergency, a little compass, a button compass, the sort of items you would find in a mini survival tin, which is why I like them so much, you want in that pouch, yeah. Cotton bandana in that pouch, yeah. Mylar blanket, yeah. Emergency shelter system, not ideal, of course it isn't, but it's better than having nothing, and a lot easier and less calorie intensive than faffing about knocking up a lean-to or a brush shelter, yeah. So a Mylar blanket in there, some cordage, by all means. You want a hanker paracord, yeah. Again, it's bulky. There are other options. There is this one, there is a nano cord, yeah. You could wind some of that off. I like to use the little metal bobbins that you get on sewing machines. You can wind that on there. Form factor's really small, yeah. You could do some with braid for fishing line or whatever, but yeah, you need to have some cordage. So think about the 5 C's, think about the 10 C's, yeah, and then get smaller items that will get you out of trouble that you can carry in a small pouch. Now the next problem is that with a pouch like this, it's got molly on the back, etc. You can wear it on your belt, which is really what you want to do. You want it separate from that rucksack in case you might even have to jettison it, mightn't it? Yeah, if your bag weighs, I don't know, 30, 40 pound in weight, I know that I'm not going to be able to sprint for 200 yards with that on my back, yeah, without needing oxygen at the other end. It is what it is. Yeah, I'm not a 24-year-old squaddy that's knocking out 3-mile basic fitness tests every other week or every other day, whatever. Yeah, so and I'm not going to be the only one. Yeah, be honest with yourself. If you've got 30 or 40 pound on your back and you had to run away and you've got a 20-something person chasing you that isn't carrying a weight, which one of you do you think is going to get caught first? Or, yeah, it's going to be you, isn't it? So it might be in extreme circumstances that you've got to jettison that pack, get that weight off you so you can move a bit quicker. No different to what they teach you in the army. Yeah, if you need to, you're going to jettison the Bergen. Tough shit, really. It's got to go because you've got to move, because at the end of the day you've got to survive. And that comes down to why you need the essentials in a bag, or a pouch I should say. Now what you can do, as I say, is put that in a belt. The problem is you put your rucksack on, you put your belly belt, or if it's a big enough rucksack, your hip belt on there, and it's got to get in the way. So you can just make some paracord loops. Yeah, so if you want an easy way of doing it, just put some paracord loops on there. So then when you thread your belt through that, it will hang down lower, and it won't impede or get in the way with your belly belt or your hip belt of your rucksack. This is a Viparade, yeah. Quality's pretty good. They hold a fair amount and they're ideal. Don't pack them out too much, but you could put the essentials in there and it can go in a cargo leg pocket. Also on Amazon is a slightly smaller version, and it's a knockoff. Yeah, it's not Viparade, but it is, yeah, it's pretty much the same. The quality isn't that far off, to be fair. This, I think, was something like £6.50 on Amazon. Free postage. Added bonus with this one, you actually get a strap with it. Whereas the Viparade, you don't. You got a paracord loops on there if you wanted to, same as this one, but this one comes with a strap. Yeah, as I said, they're about £6.50. So I bought a couple of them. You could put your basic survival, again, don't pack it out too much. Think of a little survival tin in there, perhaps a Mylar blanket, yeah, and something to carry water in, and then you're pretty much good to go. You can actually wear this over your shoulder and adjust it so it is sort of more under your armpit, yeah. If I was to put a shirt over the top of this, or a jacket, you're not going to see that rucksack over the top. Yeah, got to bin your rucksack for whatever reason, you've still got this. So that's an option. If you don't want to go with a pouch hanging off your belt, then there is a smaller pouch that you can wear crossbody under your pit, yeah, and you can put your essentials in there. This is another idea. I don't know, I assume you can still get them. It's made by Samsonite. It's for travelling. The idea being there's a number of pockets in there, Velcro. It's not 1,000 Kudura, yeah, but it is good enough quality, and it's got a neck cord on it which is quite long, nice and soft on the back, and the idea is not so much a tin because that gives it bulk, but if you took the items out of a pocket survival tin, put them into a Ziploc and slid them in here, you can then wear it over your neck, adjust the strap until it's somewhere comfortable. Sorry ladies, you will have more issues, yeah, but with a bloke, yeah, it can sort of go just above the solar plexus. And again, you can tuck this under a shirt if it's just t-shirt, yeah, or you can have it on the outside with a shirt over the top or a jacket, and exactly the same principle again. Got to bin your Bergen, yeah, you've got essential items that are in addition to your pocket EDC, here, and they're fairly concealed. Now, I've had comments in the past when people have said about doing a video about concealing survival items, and you can to a certain extent, but it depends how far you want to take it. And the reason I'm saying that is, if you've got a disciplined hunter force after you, yeah, and they catch you, before you know it, you're either going to be standing there in your shreddies, or they're going to be giving you a set of coveralls to wear, and they're going to, after they've searched you, yeah, and I mean search, proper search, and searched your kit, you're going to be lumbered. So just bear that in mind. You know, you can sew your compass into your lining and all the rest of it, but you're going to land up, if it's a disciplined hunter force, you're going to land up losing that. And the other downside to that is, if you are in a situation where that's the scenario and that you are actually caught and you're going to be interrogated, they're going to be very, very curious as to why you've got a ceramic blade hidden in one hand and a button compass in another, and they're going to start thinking, we haven't got a normal squaddy or whatever. Yeah, they're going to be thinking, oh, have we got someone, you know, who's perhaps special forces and that, and you might land up getting some more grief than you are going to get anyway. But that isn't to say that you can't adapt your clothing for your survival. Yeah, we all do it. Paracord. Yeah, get a pair of boots. What's the first thing you do? You bin the laces and you replace them with paracord. I've been doing that for ages, because generally I find that shoelaces are rubbish. Yeah, they always snap when you don't want them to. So I substitute that with paracord, and you then have got emergency cordage, but it's a lot of faff, isn't it? And then, you know, you're going to take it, unthread it from your boot, pull all the strands out, and then use a strand or the outer sheath to fasten your boot, because you don't want to be walking around your boots flopping about, because that's going to give you drama. And then you've got some cordage there. So whilst I do it, it's not ideal. What I have found is a better thing. This is the coat that I wear for normal outdoorsy stuff, yeah? And it's got drawstrings, as many of your coats have got. And there are two. There's one at the waist, and there's one at the bottom. All I've done is I took the drawstring that was in there, tied paracord onto the end of it, and then drew the drawstring out, and in doing that it draws the paracord through. Yeah. So I've got the top and the bottom, so if I needed emergency cordage, I can take it off my coat, and it isn't really having a detrimental effect on the coat. I can still wear it. Yeah, I can't cinch it up, but I can still wear it. And by doing that, I've got, I don't know, with the two lengths, probably 7 foot of paracord there, and that can then be broken down. And as I say, I would be more inclined to actually take that out of my coat and use it if I needed it, than taking it out of my footwear. And the other thing, if you've got a jacket, although I've just touched on saying about concealing survival items on your body, yeah, if you wanted to, this, for instance, this coat has got a zipped hood, and there is a surprising amount of room in there. So you could put, if you was that way inclined, some small survival items into little ziplocs or containers, or a bit of tubing, whatever, and actually lay it in there. And then you're carrying some extra items. But as I say, I'm not really into the completely concealed kit, because I don't really see the point. And as I say, if it's a dedicated hunter force that are actually after you, a disciplined unit that are after you, they're going to find it, and then you're going to have more drama answering as to why you've got that. You might have a first aid kit in your rucksack, which is good. You might want to consider having a smaller package as a redundancy in addition to your normal first aid kit. Something with a fairly small form factor that you can put into a coat pocket. Again, on the basis you lose your rucksack, you've got some items. This one's out of my get home bag. It's just a little pouch that comes from St John's Ambulance. It is primarily a cuts kit. Yeah, there's some wound closure, whatever they're called, I can't remember, wound closure strips in there, plasters, band-aids, yeah, some wipes, that sort of stuff, and that is pretty much all that's in there. But then what I've there's a couple of safety pins and a pair of nitrile gloves, but what I've also added into the back is a civilian type trauma dressing. Yeah, so it's a bit like your first field dressing, but it's a civilian type. It fits in there, okay, it puts a bit of bulk, but if you've got to deal with a bleed, I'd rather have it than not. Yeah, bandage wise, you can use items of your clothing, you can use your bandana, schmog, scarf, your shirt. Yeah, bandage wise, it's much easier. But that's mainly, as I say, for cuts, and again, lose the rucksack, I've got it with me. And instead of having a cap with it, I've got a SWAT tourniquet on there, because you can use it as a tourniquet, but you can also use the field dressing that's in there over a wound, and then you can use that to go over the top. Just don't pull it as tight as you would as if you use it as a tourniquet, and that will keep some pressure onto that wound with that field dressing in there. Or if you've got a break or something, you can use that obviously to help as a splint to keep it together. And it's a little bit weighty, but it's not too bulky. But at the end of the day, that's another item that if I got that 10-minute warning I'm going out the door, that's in a coat pocket or a trouser pocket. Yeah, purely because if my bag disappears, I want stuff on me. Another little one. I know it's dragging on. I appreciate you watching. I've done a video recently about how we can mitigate losing individual items when we're out in the field, yeah, by putting a contrasting colour on them or buying the item in a contrasting colour. It sort of goes down that line. It's a little bit just to do with knives, yeah. This is my normal bushcraft survival knife, yeah, it's a Woodlaw clone. And it has a leather sheath. Man, I can put a ferro rod in there, etc, etc. But one of the problems with it, I'll try not to stab myself, is it's not that tight a fitting, yeah? It can, with vibration, drop out. So that's potentially an issue, yeah? I know if you've got something Tydex or that, you've got it'll clip in, or even if you've got a nice knife keeper on there. What I've done is I've just used a bit of shot cord on there, and then what I can do is I can literally hook it over the handle like that, and it retains the knife. And because I put a double loop in there, it's easy to actually get access to the blade. And it isn't just with this style of knife. This is a good lady's one. She doesn't like knives, but it doesn't mean that she's not going to have one. She's got one. She's got a Mora companion, yeah. The plastic sheath is fine, but again, yeah, it doesn't take a lot for it to come out. So shot cord, you get different colours, different thicknesses. This is what I had hanging around. Same, tied it in a loop around the back of the belt loop, and then a double loop, and it is literally pull it over. Not going to lose it, yeah. You think a knife is probably one of your best survival tools. It's one of the hardest to recreate in the wild, and yet with that it can provide so much for us. You imagine that when you go to need it, you suddenly find out that whilst you was running away from the mutant zombie bikers or whatever, or climbing up something, you've lost it. So it's just something this simple. Yeah, so it's just something that's worth thinking about. If you found a video of use, give us one of them. If you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. And as always, I would love to read your comments. Yeah, if you see something and you say, he's doing that completely wrong, that's stupid, be polite, but tell me. Yeah, if you found an easier way to carry certain items, tell me. Yeah, I know you've got things like the Wazoo survival belt, very expensive in the UK. Yeah, there are other things, money belts, you could probably make one up yourself. Yeah, leather belt, put some items into little Ziplocs, and then run the inside over the inside of the belt. Just put a layer of Gorilla Tape over it, for instance. Then thread it through your belt and you've got the items there. So that would probably work. Yeah, but put them in Ziplocs first. You don't want to just sandwich items with duct tape or Gorilla Tape, because the residue comes off and goes on the items. If it's things like needles, fishing hooks, scalpel blades, that sort of thing, nightmare. Absolute nightmare, because you then can't use the item properly because of the residue. Yeah, it just sticks in it. But anyway, I'm waffling. Have a great day. It's very wet, but it's good if you're a fish. Stay safe. See you soon.